How's it going, everybody? Destauch here, and today we're going to be looking at my top 8 favorite Master Chief armors. Now these range from all the appearances we've seen from Halo Legends to Forward Unto Dawn to all the mainline games. So basically I like most of these armors, but aside from the first one we're going to get to. But before we get to that, I would kindly ask for you guys to please subscribe to the channel. It'll help out a lot, and if you enjoy the video, please like it. Anyway, let's get into this. So first up at number 8, we have the Silent Storm armor. Now, I'm not a big fan of this armor. It kind of looks like a snorkel gear suit to me. I don't know, it just feels weird. It looks like a gas mask, I think. Just the big overblown cheeks and the ventilations. It just doesn't seem very Spartanish to me. Maybe something more like Fallout, but yeah, we see this in Silent Storm, and we also see it in the comic Collateral Damage, which also featured Chief. And I just don't think the armor protects him well. I mean, if you look especially in his waist area, there's not a lot of armor there, so to me the design doesn't make much sense, and it doesn't look very pretty. So it's far and away my least favorite, and with that said, let's move on to number 7. And for number 7, we have the Mark 6 Cortana mod from Halo 5. Now, this armor I like a bit, but it has a lot of issues. So I like how bulky it is. It makes Chief kind of like a tank. And it's a little too busy for me. Too many lines, too many different plates going on, and it doesn't help that the undersuit is green, so it's hard to define kind of the armor pieces from the actual undersuit, and it kind of just makes Chief look like a big blob. It's not a big deal, and it's still a good looking armor, but just not my favorite. And for number 6, we have the Mark 6 Cortana mod from Halo 4. So a lot of the issues I have with the Mark 6 from Halo 5 carry over to this armor. The difference is that I like the black undersuit a lot, and it helps define the armor pieces a lot more. Even though it's very busy, you know, it's sectioned off into little busy areas. It's, you know, not perfect, but it's nicer to me, and I think the shade of green is more green to me rather than like a drab kind of olive. And the visor is more of a bright orange, which, you know, I like Chief colorful, I don't like him drab. So, to me, this armor beats the Halo 5 one, but just by a little bit. And now for number 5, and for that, I'm giving it to the Forward Unto Dawn Mark IV. Now, I could have also rated the Mark IV from Halo Legends, but to me, the Forward Unto Dawn Mark IV and the Package Mark IV are pretty much identical, so we'll just keep them in the same kind of unit. Now, what I really dig about this armor is the 117 little name tag. I just think it's cool to have his number on his chest. And I really like this because it's kind of a meld between the Halo 2 and 3 kind of look and the Halo 4 and 5 kind of look. He's bulkier, but he still kind of has that classic silhouette, and he just looks very imposing. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of is the helmet. Now, the helmet is a little bit off because I feel like the visor is a little bit too narrow, and the chin kind of comes out a little bit too far, but, you know, it's more of a nitpick, and I like the design choices they had with it in general. On to number 4, and that is the Halo 1 Mark V. Now, I love this armor just because of, you know, how iconic it looks. You know, it was the first armor that we wore in Halo 1, and it just has a nice simplistic look to it. You know, partly because of the graphics, but also just that stellar artwork from Bungie that really made like this really cool, interesting, simple piece of military hardware that had, you know, like a nice clear visor, and an armor with a really nice bright green finish. I just really dig the whole more cartoony look, and I think it's a testament for Bungie to have designed such a good looking piece of armor with such limiting hardware. But with that, let's move on to number 3. And for that, we have the Halo 2 Mark VI. Now, I'm a big fan of this armor. The lighter green is a little bit off-putting, but it was just such a great design, and of course it was, because, I mean, we're seeing it all the way now in 2020 with Halo Infinite. And, you know, in this incarnation, it was a little skinny, kind of like biker gear, some people would say, but it was just this really good, gritty, futuristic look at what I think humanity would actually develop for a super soldier in the future. I mean, it just looks so realistic to me. Even more realistic than maybe the Halo 4 and 5 one. I just don't know, because to me, those ones overcomplicate it. I feel like this is a practical military look that makes a lot of sense, and I love how they added the little spots on the hands and just the very compartmentalized kind of look of each piece of armor. and the exhausts on the back, and I would look at this guy when I was a kid and just be like, how did they design such a perfect piece of armor? But it can still be improved from here, and with that said, let's move on to number 2. For number 2, we have the Mark 6 Halo 3 variant, and this one, oh, it's the chef's kiss. It's just, they took the Halo 2 armor, made it the perfect shade of olive green, made that visor look like the sun, and gave him a little bit of a battle scar on his chest, and I just think it's one of the best looking pieces of armor in any sci-fi. Just the grittiness of it, the bulkiness of it that they added to it, and I promise you, with how much I'm oogling over this armor, there was still a number 1, but I just have to say, this armor was the king for a while. Even with Halo Reach armors, they still didn't come close to me. Until now, and that is why we are going to talk about number 1. And that is the Halo Infinite Gen 3 armor. Now, I just love this armor just because it is a perfect blend to me of the bulkiness of 4 and 5, the name tag, I guess, of Forward Unto Dawn, and also the Forward Unto Dawn basic kind of look and structure with that bulkiness to it, but also having that beautiful helmet from Halo 2 and 3. I think they've basically taken all of the elements of every piece of Halo lore, aside from Silent Storm, which I don't want to talk about, and they made it into the perfect piece of armor. The shade of green is a little light for my taste, but as for the bodywork of it, it is the penultimate armor. I just love it. Just everything about it screams classic Halo to me, and I'm so glad that we get to see this variant of armor. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now, if you have any thoughts on what I have said about these armors and you want to talk about maybe your favorite armor, leave it in the comments. And if you liked the video, please like it, and if you really liked it, try subscribing. This was Destauch, and I'll see you in the next one. Destauch out.